Hello and welcome to the Ant-Man channel. It is Tuesday, the 18th of March 2014, and I stumbled upon something that I thought was important. Since I'm on this whole issue with science and religion, I'm going to make probably a whole series about this and even try to make it a very, intrinsic, or not intrinsic, that's the wrong word, intrinsic. Make it very, detailed so that you understand better. But I found this article right now, and I was amazed what I stumbled upon because I've never really heard of Meyers. I mean, I've heard of him, but I didn't know who he was until now. This guy is a scientist. He's all about evolution. But this article right here is by him, and this was posted 3 days ago, and it is on freethoughtblogs.com. Isn't that nice? The people that try to control what you believe are the people that say that they're about free thought. This is hilarious, by the way. He starts off by saying, I'm seeing a lot of silly carping about Neil deGrasse Tyson's Cosmos. Almost all of it is focused on the story of Bruno told in the first episode. The apologists for religion are upset. How dare a science program point out the poisonous influence of religion? I'm sorry about this is a whiny crybaby to me, that's all. That's all I see. He's got a lot of nothing, my friend, and he could be a scientist, a big shot, and all that, but dude, and I'm nobody, by the way, but I'm kind of proud to say that he doesn't know what he's talking about. I know that he understands science much better than I do, but he doesn't understand historical stuff like this better than I do. Almost all of it is focused on the story of Bruno, he says, told in the first episode, and he's saying the apologists for religion are upset. How dare a science program point out the poisonous influence of religion? Wow. Isn't that a nice thing to say? Bruno wasn't really a scientist anyway, so he shouldn't count. Peter Hess of NCSCE offers up a good example of apologetics. And in my opinion, this is a good example of apologetics. And it's funny that Mr. P.Z. Meyer even goes out of his way to put parentheses between names that he has to bring up to try to... You see, this is what the atheist tries to do. He goes after your character. It's called an ad hominem. Since he can't argue about the issue, he brings you into the picture. He brings you look at who's telling you this. This guy is a loser. This guy did this. This guy did that. They got a lot of nothing. So let me read this. It's pathetic, by the way, when you try to just attack people's character instead of just trying to have a debate. You'll never... The atheist is afraid of a debate because all he's good at is name-calling, and that's it. So the apologist, or the apologist guy, though, you'll notice that he's very polite, and he has manners, and he's got some respect for you, even though you have absolutely no respect for the individual that you're trying to debate. But anyways, I digress. Unfortunately, the series premiere, this is what Peter Hess says. Unfortunately, the series premiere risks squandering that opportunity through a combination of misleading history and reliance on an antiquated narrative of inevitable conflict between science and religion. And the Catholic Church in particular, that simply is not born out by the facts. Did you hear that? That simply is not born out by the facts. A generation of careful scholarship has given us a nuanced and sophisticated understanding of the long, rich, and complex relationship between religion and the sciences, and I personally believe that King David debunked evolution in his day as king. And that's why people from all over the world went to him to listen to him speak, because he had a lot of wisdom. Well, that was his son, but, oh yeah, I said King David, I meant King Solomon, I'm sorry. King Solomon knew about all of the stuff that people believed in, and he explained it to you through the Word of God, and people were just fascinated by it, so they just flew to him. Or technically, they got on a boat and went there. Sorry, I know I'm going to be quoted on that probably with the lame ad hominems that I see here, especially. So this latest Cosmos reflects none of that historiography, sorry, I can't say that word, presenting us instead with what is quite literally a cartoon version of the life story of someone who was not a scientist. Missing were the stories of Catholic astronomers such as Copernicus and Galileo, Protestants such as Brahe and Kepler, and Newton, and man, does he have some nice things to say about Newton right there. Or Dr. George Lemaitre, proposer of the Big Bang. So this guy, P.Z. Meyer, he's mad because you don't understand it like he did. And when I looked at I Wikipedia'd this guy. This guy got into a big thing about a Eucharist and some student having, instead of eating the Eucharist at some Catholic school, he took it to his seat, and then the Pope or whatever, the weird guy that comes up to you and he tried to take the Eucharist out of his hand by force, and then he got death threats, he got all kinds of stuff, and he got treated badly. And then P.Z. Meyer went out and said something like, I'll desecrate the Eucharist, and he got, all big and pumped up, and he got all pomp, and you know what I mean, and he started saying these things. The atheists, they blame everything that the Catholic Church did in the past on Christians. They don't understand the difference between the two. The Catholic Church likes to call themselves Christians, but they're not. They don't even know who their first pope is. They're like you guys. They don't really understand their own religion. You guys are so inconsistent with the way you live compared to what the things you say and you claim to believe in. And this is what I'm trying to tell you guys, is that you guys aren't even open to anybody trying to tell you anything, because look at what he says here. Whenever I see one of these guys throw out knows like a nuanced and sophisticated understanding of the long, rich, and complex relationship between religion and the sciences. And then he goes on to say, I want to ask, what was nuanced and sophisticated about setting a human being on fire? See, he believes that our religion that came from the Protestant Reformation, meaning that the real Christians trying to get away from the cuckoos, from the people that are trying to rule over everybody through fear and ignorance. They are trying to throw us in the same boat with them. And this is not good for us Christians, because in my honest opinion, the atheists are starting to get super religious. They're starting to become like the Catholic Church back in the 1600s, because that's what they're trying to do to us now. They're trying to get us out of the public square. Our thoughts are not the ones that are acceptable in the public. They control the narrative. They tell you, no, evolution's the truth. Nope, the Big Bang's the truth. But don't listen to those Christians over there, or you will be chastised, or whatever you want to say right there. You will be ad hominem attack all day. You won't be accepted within the academic circle. You won't be part of the crew. But you guys, we're not doing this to be, this is a whole different story here. We know that this is all going to, where. So we're trying to get some of you, that's my whole point, is us Christians are trying to get some of you out of this matrix of believing this garbage, man. Because there are people that try to just distort the truth, to just try to keep their own job or whatever. It's never for the sake of everyone. It's for the sake of their pride and their ego. It's never for the better of humanity. It's never for that. It's always just because I know everything and I can act as arrogant as I want. And I'm just humanistic and I'm secular and I'm cool and that's all I care about. And I'm going to act tough and I'm going to sit in my ivory tower and bash Christians all day. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that. It's not like I'm not doing that to you, though, but I claim to know the truth. What do you guys claim to know? That you don't know anything and you use circular reasoning to try to figure that out? That's ridiculous. Get out of here. Man, I mean, I'm really, man, when I see this kind of stuff, I want to call P.Z. Meyers something else, but I can't because I'm a Christian. But just, all I can say is really he's not very friendly, and he doesn't really give you a clear understanding of historical facts. All he puts is a bunch of quotes from other people, like, you know what I mean? He's put more quotes up on here, and you know what I mean? I'll just go by reading the rest of that sentence I just read. I also think his list of famous scientists overlooks an important trend. Between Copernicus and Lemaitre, we are seeing the steady triumph of science over religion, that we see the church forced to reduce the severity of its enforcement of dogma in the face of the overwhelming success of science in accurately describing the world. Was so accurate. The church was dragged kicking and screaming into an era where you don't get to murder people for disagreeing with your dogma. Isn't that funny that that's who we are, right? We're Christians, we just want to kill people? Yeah. I don't know where you got your theology, my friend, but that is ridiculous. That is just, how dare you? It is odd, therefore, that Cosmos refuses almost exclusively on the marginal case of Giordano Bruno, of course. I am not defending Bruno's persecution and death. No decent human being now would ever condone burning a person alive for any reason. Moreover, in 2014, we view legitimate theological dissent very differently than did our ancestors, this guy. But the circumstances were quite different 400 years ago. According to the 16th century Italian legal code and the customs of Renaissance politics, Bruno was judged by an ecclesiastical court to be an obdurate heretic for refusing to cease in promulgating his theological ideas. As such, he was deserving of capital punishment and was turned over for execution by the civil arm in Rome. So, in the 21st century, we inhabit a very different era. A religiously pluralistic age of largely secular states in which the nature and exercise of authority are vastly different than they were in post-Reformation Italy. Well, I could just go on and read this whole article, but I'm afraid that I can't handle it. But no, if you want to come read it, it's freeblogs.com, freethoughtblogs.com, sorry. Man. I mean, what do I say here that I haven't already said? That, we're in the age of relativity where there are no, the ethics that we learned from our ancestors to apply to our morality, because we are moral human beings. I believe in moral responsibility, that if you get a gun and you shoot somebody, that's your fault and not the gun's fault. Guns are not the problem. The problem is that there's crazy people that need to be educated. They need to be put in church. They need people to love them. Okay? This is the problem, my friend. And if your heart wasn't so hard, you would understand this kind of stuff. But you're too proud. And that's really the reason that you don't understand this stuff. But this religion versus science thing is ridiculous. Coming from someone who, myself, I could, tell you that I have studied the Bible extensively. It has also led me to give a care about history and science. I never even studied these things before I got into reading my Bible. I started to realize these things do make sense together. Religion and science they do cooperate with each other very well. But there are people out there that want to use, if anything, I want to thank the Cosmos people. Whoever put on that show, Carl Sagan or Carl Pagan or whatever his name is, the one that did the original, whoever it was that revived his show, I want to thank you, because you gave me an excellent tool now to use against you, because you try to use a tool against us, but now it's going to turn on you, because you just really, what you did is you opened my eyes to where all of this religion versus science stuff came from. Oh, the Renaissance, I get it. I totally get it now. So, best believe, you guys, that you don't know everything, and that you should be looking for advice. You should be humble, and you should want to accept the fact that you are open to learning stuff and not be so arrogant about everything. Me, myself, I'm not the smartest person in the world. I'm not telling you to believe me. Go and seek the truth for yourself. You will be glad you did. Believe me in that, I guess. But anyways, seek the truth and defend liberty. God bless you.